Rick, what a result. Man United 5, RB Leipzig 0. Clean sheet. You know, you spoke about a clean sheet against Chelsea. Let's build on that. Clean sheet today, but 5 goals. And, well, remember when they told us this was the group of death? I thought it was, Rick.
It was the group of death. It's a proper hard group. They're both great sides. You could see how good Leipzig were in the first hour. We defended brilliantly, stayed in the game. I've already got people onto me saying, "Look at the goals now. Look, it's about staying in the game." I said it, and it's about those 2 holding midfield players are vital. It doesn't matter who you're playing against. We ended up scoring 4 at Newcastle. With ever since he's gone with 2 defensive midfield players, apart from 1 game, we're basically banging goals in for fun. We got 4 against Newcastle. We got 2 at PSG, which is great. 5 tonight. All right, it failed. We didn't manage to score against Chelsea. But ever since he's gone with 2 defensive midfield players, the goals are flying in.
They are. And you know what? He did go with 2 defensive midfield players. But I think the biggest factor about today's result was the way he used them. So, yes, Matic and Fred were on the pitch as defensive midfield players. But he played a diamond in there, Ricky. Normally, we do say, and we have been saying, in the shape of a 4-3-3 with 2 wingers, there is only space for one of the 3 attacking midfielders in terms of Pogba, Bruno, or Van de Beek. But I feel, I don't know what you feel, with him playing with the diamond today and taking away the wingers, which we don't really have great wingers as wingers, do you think it helped us? Because actually, yeah, we had 2 defensive-minded players, midfielders on the pitch, but the way they were used was Matic at the base of that, and Fred, you go and do what you want. And I thought he was, yes, he gives the ball away a little bit, but he was very good.
Yeah, Fred sort of runs around nicking the ball, doesn't he? But that's his job. It. You know, he always plays like that. All I'm saying is, I've said since the ball was kicked this season, we were playing with too many attack-minded players. You know, they are those players, even though Fred might have had a little bit more license next to Matic. I don't see why he should have more license when he's next to Matic, by the way, than when he's next to McTominay. There's no reason for that. But, he has got a little bit of license to run forward, nicking balls. But so long as 2 of those 3 players play, we've got much more chance. Now, there'll be loads of people saying, look, the subs cut of Rashford was obviously unbelievable. First hat-trick ever. Bruno come on, started pulling strings. It was all great. Don't think for 1 minute that if we'd have started with that team, that we might have still been level after an hour. You just never know. Do you know what I mean? They're a top side. They, don't forget they're tiring. Everybody's tiring towards the end. You bring fresh players on. They've got and the good players, and they've got more chance against a tiring team. And it's working wonders for us. It's working absolute wonders. Look, just before the lockdown, we weren't after getting battered by Spurs and beat at home by Palace. Let's be honest, if we can cast your mind back, if we can cast our minds back, people weren't confident that we were going to win at Newcastle.
You had to make changes, 100%.
Yeah, let alone PSG. And if I'd have said to you during the international break, right, in these next 4 games against Newcastle, PSG, Chelsea and Leipzig, we're going to win 3 and draw 1, you'd have bit my hand off.
100%. And
often people were moaning on Sunday or Saturday, whenever it was. It's going great. He's got to keep those 2 there. If he plays, we didn't play 4-4-2 today. If he plays 4-4-2, trust me, there's already people on there saying to me, "Oh, no, Dan James, no, Dan James." If we'd have played 4-4-2 and Marcus Rashford would have been playing left wing, we probably would have lost. If they score first, the game changes. If they score first, the game changes. And they're
about shape.
And outside, it's about shape.
Yeah, and the shape, and that's what I'm giving testament to Solskjaer, which, to be fair, I know your point is always, it isn't necessarily always down to the individuals in that shape. The team just has to have that shape. And if you have got those individuals in that shape, then they're disciplined in that shape. I understand that. But I think what Ollie showed today was an intent to play attacking players and actually prove that, well, you know what? If you play them in the right shape, you can get more out of the attacking players. Because today we had Greenwood,
I do agree with you, Flex.
and Van de Beek on.
Flex, let me stop you. I do agree with you, But do not forget that against Spurs and against Palace, we only had one out of, it's all right saying we had more attacking players. We didn't have 5 attacking players. We had 4. You know what I mean? We had 5 against Spurs. We had 5 against
too many, yeah. So basically, to get back to your point so we can move on, what you're saying is that Ollie's realised that he needed more defensive-minded players in the team in the right positions, basically, is what you're saying.
Yeah. And I've had people saying to me, you don't need 2 defensive midfield players. They don't understand the game, Flex. Those defensive midfield players will win the ball back and keep the pressure on and help us to go up the field.
Which is what they did today.
Yeah, that's why we're scoring more goals. We're attacking better because we've got 2 defensive midfield players who are getting us going. You've got to. That's your springboard. It's your springboard.
But what I like about what Ollie's done today is you're right, because I do agree especially after the Tottenham game, I was in 100% agreement. We had to make big changes. And that team that he picked against Newcastle, when it had Dan James on the left, when it had Mata out on the right, when it had Fred and McTominay, I understood why. But I also like what Solskjaer's done with this, because like you said, he still kept 2 defensive midfield players in there, but the way he's used them is not as defensive in terms of 2 side by side just sitting in front of the back 4. Do you know what I mean? But they are kind of next to each other, but one's to the left and one's just behind in terms of Fred's on the left, on the right of the diamond, and Matic is at the pivot of it. So I going forward, Rick, we got Arsenal. Let's talk about that. Do you want to see him use that same diamond, that same formation that we just saw? 2 up front, a diamond in midfield, but like you said, keep the balance of a Fred and Matic, or a Fred and McTominay, or McTominay and Matic, whoever. Keep 2 defensive midfielders in it, but keep the same shape.
I won't mind it at all. Yeah, I'm not going to say who would prefer, but I won't mind him playing like that. Obviously, the way it went tonight, it was fine. Pogba did his work. He played like a left-hand side. He played sort of between the old-fashioned left-half position and left wing. A lot of people saying to me, "What do you mean left wing? You look at his defensive position. He's just in front of the goal." He was more or less playing left wing, where a left winger would be when we're defending. Do you know what I mean? So that's where Pogba was playing. So the shape in that, I prefer 4-4-2. But if it's going to work like that and the lads are going to play like that, I thought McTominay, by the way, was superb when he come on. I thought Luke Shaw was absolutely fantastic throughout, and also I've had a couple of people saying that they weren't that convinced. This was before the game ended about Anthony Martial. And make no mistake, Anthony Martial was fantastic tonight. They had that much of the ball. We needed someone to get hold of it and win the odd free kick and get us up the pitch. And I'd love to know how many free kicks he won. I bet he won about 6 or 7 free kicks tonight, Anthony Martial, receiving the ball with his back to goal. Anthony Martial was absolutely superb, believe me. People don't think it's superb if you're not running round everybody. There's loads of different jobs on the field, and the coaches tonight will have been absolutely over the moon with Anthony Martial. We couldn't get out of our own box for long periods. They got it up to him, and his touch, his absolute class. He holds it in, and they come into the back of him, free kick, and he's like that. Great.
This relieves the pressure off the team, especially when you're under the cosh a little bit, because I thought the first sort of 20 minutes up until we scored our goal, I thought we were well worth the lead. But as soon as we scored, it was a question of actually, right, like you said, Leipzig were a good team. They got hold of the ball, they committed more men forward, they put us under pressure. We got in our shape, we remained organised and saw the half out and improved in the second half. And with Martial, I do agree, when he gets the ball into his feet, he's just positive with it, because he doesn't only just win the foul, he knows when the right time to turn with the ball is and run at his defenders. And he gets into the box. They don't want to trip him up, and he's just such a tricky player. So I agree. But Rashford coming on, just looking at the replays here. I mean, to give Martial the penalty, he's on a hat trick, selfless. He's what Marcus is doing off the pitch. He's bringing it to on pitch, being a provider, because Martial, to be fair, has had a mixed start to the season, and that goal would have done his confidence. And then Martial and Rashford still gets his hat trick.
Yeah, I was absolutely over the moon with the team, if you like, the ethic within the team, because the very same thing happened for Marcus when he wasn't going quite so well after lockdown, and when Bruno was on the field, but they let Marcus take a pen. They did the same thing for Martial tonight, and I think it's brilliant. Yeah, absolutely brilliant.
To finish off, Rick, I mean, obviously we're looking in good shape in the group. That's 2 games, 6 points on the board. We go to Istanbul next.
Yeah.
And
I don't know if anyone said this yet, Flex. Don't know if anyone said this, but I'm pretty certain it hasn't changed. If you level with someone at the end of the group, it goes on your head-to-head, I think, not on goal difference.
Yes.
So that is a fantastic win tonight. Leipzig have got a hell of a lot of work to do to finish above us because they've got to overtake us. Catching us no good. They've got to overtake us. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So, but are you fully expecting us to, I know it sounds silly, but to qualify?
I am now. Yeah, we obviously.
I know it sounds silly, but I mean, we still got to play PSG again. We still got to play Leipzig again. But when you look at it like that,
if we can get 4 points from the next 2 games are against Besiktas, whatever they call. I can't think how to say it. The Istanbul team. Anyway, I watched them tonight. They're not bad. They're not bad. They played well. PSG. I thought PSG scored against the run of play, and then obviously they won it in the end too.
Yeah, it was a draw for a little while, wasn't it? It was 0-0.
They looked really good. They did look good, but we've got to have enough to beat them at Old Trafford. I would hope so. And get a point there. And I think 10 points is usually the yardstick. It usually gets you through, and especially having beaten them 5-0. Like I say, if we can get 10 points somehow or other, both PSG and Leipzig are going to have to get more than 10 points, aren't they? Which I can't see really. I don't know if it's mathematically possible.
Rick, before you go, who was your man of the match and why?
I would have given it Luke Shaw. I would have given it Luke Shaw, and I hate giving it someone who's only been on the pitch 15 or 20 minutes. Just like I wouldn't give someone player of the season who only joined in February.
Oh, he's got to get it in. He's got to get it. He's got to get it.
Oh yeah, we haven't mentioned Van der Beek, by the way.
Yeah. Oh, actually, what did you think of him tonight?
What's quality? Lovely first touch. Sees the short pass. He's
tried, isn't he?
They're a great team. They're the hardest team we've played against. He had a fine game. I hope Ollie realises now that he hasn't got to bottle it. And I mentioned last weekend that when we were playing sort of Sevilla and we had Greenwood and Rashford on the flanks, he made his subs with 3 minutes to go.
Yeah, he did.
This week, when he's got Mata and James on the flanks, he makes his subs with 32 minutes to go. He needs to really think hard about this. There's no need for Bruno to play every minute of every match and that kid to be sat on the bench and getting 2 and 3 minutes. He can give him 20 minutes regularly. He isn't going to let us down. He's not going to let us, if the roles would have been reversed tonight and he would have come on when they were tiring and Bruno would have played the first 70 minutes, that, there's a great chance that the same type of thing still would have happened. Kid's a quality player and he deserves a bit more game time. And he deserves a bit more game time where he wants to play. You can tell he's a player.
Yeah, Van der Beek is good. So he's your man of the match. Marcus Rashford.
You've got to give it Marcus Rashford with an hat-trick in 8 minutes or whatever it was. And a great finish. They're all good finishes, but his third goal was a fantastic finish.
Exactly. Listen, Rick, great stuff. I will see you on Sunday when we take on Arsenal. And you know what? If we can win that game as well, that's a great batch of results.
I'd be absolutely over the moon. I put a tweet out today saying that I'd take... This is a typical football fan for you. I put a tweet out today saying that I'd be over the moon if we're just unbeaten come Sunday night in 5. Don't forget, we've now gone unbeaten 4 games now. You've got to start somewhere. That draw against Chelsea thrown in there, don't matter. It's fine. Now if we can, now that we've beaten Leipzig, I don't really want to take a draw against Arsenal.
Exactly.
This morning, I was happy with a win and a draw, whichever way it came. Do you know what I mean?
How we felt after PSG. After PSG, we didn't want to draw against Chelsea. We thought, tell you what.
This morning, when I was looking at the 2 games, Leipzig and Arsenal, I was saying I'd be happy with a win and a draw. But now the first one's a win. We want to win the next one, don't we?
Yeah. Okay, nice one, Rick. I'll see you then. Hopefully we get that win.
Good night.
Nice one, mate. Take care.